And I'd like to officially welcome you to the guest expert call, monthly expert call for the Multi-Passionate Moms Club. And this month, we are talking about building, establishing, and strengthening your brand through social media. And we have our guest, Wendy Silvers of the Million Mamas Movement. And I'm excited to have Wendy here with us because I know Wendy, I've known her for years, and we originally met, excuse me, we originally met, I don't know, how many years ago was that, Wendy? It was
7.
7, yeah, at least 7 years ago. And we both were really passionate about the natural childbirth movement and natural parenting movement. And so that's how we got our start. And then we've kind of both evolved from there, and we work with moms, and we are actually in a coaching mastermind program together. So I love that we get to work together and collaborate on these things. And let me do a little bit of yes, you will get to see baby.
Baby.
Baby love.
Oh, hi, precious.
Owen. I know, so sweet. Okay, so let me do a little bit of the formal intro, so people get a sense of who you are. So Wendy Silvers guides moms, and Wendy Silvers is a dog. She guides moms and change makers in awakening to their wisdom, power, and prosperity. Nicknamed Mama Wendy by her clients, she's known for her visionary dedication, fierce advocacy, and intuitive wisdom. She's a licensed spiritual life coach and counselor, a speaker and teacher, and she's the founder of the Million Mamas Movement and a published co-author of the international best-selling book, Balance for Busy Moms. So I'd like to officially welcome you to the club, Wendy.
I am just overjoyed to be here with you. Thank you. Thank you, Mama Justine. I respect and appreciate you enormously. And I remember when we met those many years ago and how much I just thought you're just so magnetic, and what a beautiful open heart. And I was like, I really want to be in collaboration with this woman. I want to be in community with her because our missions and our hearts are so aligned with really shifting the paradigm. So thank you for the honor to be here with you and your mamas. And I love that there's a babe in arms. Like, oh, makes me so happy. Yeah, really. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Wendy, for that. I really received that. And the feeling is mutual. So. So you all can see we're in for a treat today because Wendy has such a loving heart, and it's going to be like so warm and fuzzy today, and there's going to be lots of good stuff. So let's jump in, and as we all know, social media is where it's at today, right? Like we have to have a social media presence. This is the way to connect. Okay, can you hear me?
I can. Just so you know, I don't know if anyone else is experiencing it, but you're breaking up. So some of your words are chopping.
Okay. So, yeah, occasionally my internet gets a little shaky.
I'm with you. I'll flow. No worries. You don't have to.
And if you can't hear me, just hold up your finger and I'll know to slow down.
Okay.
So, as we know, the social media is where it's at. We all need to have a presence on social media if we want to connect with our ideal clients, if we want to get our message out there, if we really want to make an impact, we need to be hooked up on social media. And there are so many social media outlets, and it can get so overwhelming, and things are constantly changing. So I feel like this is such an important topic, and the women in my inner circle for the Multi-Passionate Moms Club have asked for social media training specifically.
Okay.
So I know there are so many angles and ways that we could talk about social media. And today we're really going to be focusing on how to build a strong brand using social media, how to be seen as an expert, how to be seen as a leader, how to get our voice and message out there consistently, and so that people know who we are, what we stand for, and they can get involved if we are their people, right? And so I know that you've built the brand with the Million Mamas movement. I would love for you to just take a moment to share with us, sort of your vision for that. Like, how did that start? How did that come about? Would love to just get a little bit of background into like who you are and what you're passionate about.
Okay, thank you. Well, I'm just so delighted to be part of the multi-passionate mamapreneurs, because that's me, Renaissance mama. So I am a trauma-informed nonviolent parenting educator, and I've been a mom's empowerment coach since 2002. And so before I became a mom, I was a child advocate. I mean, really, when I look throughout my life, I've been a change maker or a paradigm shifter or someone who stood for freedom, equality, and justice. And so when I was going through my formal training as a licensed spiritual therapist / coach, I was just very organically drawn to supporting the whole role of motherhood and parenting. I birthed my daughter at home. I did the family bed. I nursed her till she was 3. I was really keen on gentle birth and gentle parenting. And I did not even realize that I was doing attachment parenting until I found a book that told me that what I was doing was called attachment parenting. I just really felt so connected to this being that was inside of me. And I wanted to do it differently than the way that I was brought up. And so as I was moving along my path, growing my business as a spiritual therapist healer, I do this practice every day. I mean, I have a steady meditation practice that I've had for 18 years plus, where I literally sit and I meditate. And then one of my cherished teachers is Michael Beckwith, who teaches the life visioning process, which is different than visualization. It's a visioning process where we get to access our intuition, our intuitive faculties, which I lead my clients through. And so after a sitting one morning, I went to the gym and I was on the elliptical, which I really believe accesses the left and the right hemispheres of your brain. And as I was doing it, and I was really in an inquiry, I had been in my meditation service sitting saying, how may I be of greater service to mothers and fathers and children? And then I'm just like going back and forth, and I hear that I received the impression across my awareness. I heard Million Mamas March. And I was like, I thought it was my father-in-law, because I'm a medium and a clairvoyant. I thought my father-in-law, who took my husband to the Million Man March, was saying hello. So I was just like, hey, Arthur. And then I just kept going. And then I heard Million Mamas March again. And then I heard Washington, D.C. And then I heard Mother's Day. And so I, as somebody who is an interpreter of the invisible, I just was like, okay, if I say yes, you show me the way. And so I began the 10-month process of planning at the monument in Washington, D.C. And at the very last minute, I switched it to an international broadcast. But what I learned as I was planning this is that it was not a moment, it was a movement. It wasn't a one-day thing. It was really meant to empower mothers specifically in recognizing that they have sovereign power as change makers to shift paradigms, and then to offer programs to empower them as mothers, to empower them as change makers, to empower them as activists. How do you do that? What does that mean? And so I just began a steady incline of doing that. And I've been doing that. It was launched in 2012. And then I took a little step back after the launch to really regroup and do some soothing of my own soreness, because it was just so intense and fast. and furious, and my life was very out of balance, and I really needed to pause. And I'm a big proponent of pausing and turning within and really catching the intuitive wave for my life rather than forcing, which ironically, I want to say, I was a publicist and an account manager in the entertainment industry for 13 years. And I worked, on campaigns and helping people brand celebrities and movies and films. And so it's really funny that we're talking about social media, but that was then, and this is now. So I've just been steadily building my work and also the Million Mamas movement, because I believe that now more than ever, especially the younger moms, they really have a passion inside of them to have a different world. And I believe, at least the clients that I've been working with, they really get that their mothering is really setting a tone for their children's future. Yeah. And so that's a Reader's Digest version of the Million Mamas movement birth.
Yeah. I love that. And what I really got in what you said, and you're coming full circle with your marketing background, and right before you talked about the pause. And so what you're here to do now is to show us how to bring in the ease and the flow and a little bit of pause. Like, let's pause and let's look at what feels aligned with us, right? How we show up and how we put ourselves out there. And so I love that, because it feels like you can bring both together now to help, us, right? So, what I love is, I think a lot of the moms in this group are visionaries and leaders. And that's why, you're so perfect with, such a perfect fit. And as I hear you talking about home birth and nursing and all of that, and it reminded me how similar we are, like such a, parallel path that we're on. And we've been coaching probably about the same amount of time. And, so it's just really neat to see that we really are in the right place. We are with Tribe. And that this is our time to step up as leaders, as visionaries, as change makers, and really be seen in our authentic selves, in our authentic expression of ourselves, in what we stand for, what we believe, what our experiences have been, and what we want the world to know, right? What we really want the world to know. And so how, from your experience in, building this movement with your marketing background and all of that, and you have a particular liking for Instagram, right? Mm-hmm. So I know today we're going to really talk about Facebook and Instagram primarily, and I don't know much about Instagram at all, so I'm all ears. So where would you like to start? What is your number one tip, or what's the main focus or thing that we should be doing as we're beginning to, build our brands and put ourselves out there?
Well, number one, I want to say hi, Tangi. And number two, I want to say, know who you are. Because one of the most important marketing tips that I can share is congruence. That will speak volumes when you are incongruent, and it will speak volumes when you are in congruence with who you are. So it begins with mindset. It's really important, because what I know is that everything follows your mindset. You can say one thing, but if you're not congruent with it, people are going to get the lack of congruence. So I want to give you a tip. There's a platform called Canva. Canva. They have a free and a paid version, and I actually have the paid version. And so you want your graphics to be consistent, unless it's a photo of you. So you want to make sure that you want to make sure that they're glossy and they are professional looking. So when you are clear about what your brand is, right, your mission and your vision. You want to be clear about what your mission is, and you want to be clear about what your vision is. And you want your mindset to be in alignment. And then you want to decide, what is the message? What are you wanting to convey? What do you want people to come away with when they see your graphic or when they read a post? It's really important to not be bombarding people with sales. There's totally every reason in the world to offer your products and your programs and your services, but you want to do 3 personals to 1 product offer. When you are clear about your message, you can even take 1 day a week where you decide for the next 7 days the messages that you want to put out. So you could take a Monday and you can decide that you're working on something, or there's something on your heart, or there's something that you just caught. So sit down and then take a minimum of 1 hour. I want to let you know that it's going to take time to use Canva. And so you want to have a time schedule, and you want to put time in your schedule to create these graphics. And then you can put them out each day. You want to decide what the text is. I believe that brevity, shortness is best, but there's also a place when you're telling a story. We're in a time where storytelling is queen. It's not about being inaccessible, it's about being accessible. So you want to make sure that you are accessible and you are relatable. You don't necessarily want to just be all perfect, because it's not real. You want to be real, you want to be relatable, you want to be accessible. Because what happens is, especially with Instagram, which I adore, it is picture heavy. It's very visually impressive. So when you use Instagram, you want to be mindful about who you're tagging, but hashtags, go to Twitter, find out what hashtags are trending, and then put them at the bottom. You can use up to 30 hashtags on your on your Instagram post. So put some hashtags underneath the graphic and underneath the content underneath your graphic. You put maybe 8. And then the first comment box, you put more hashtags. You don't have to use 30, but you can. You can. I have never used 30. The other thing too about tagging people is you really want to use discretion with that. You want to make sure that you know most of them, and that you want to make sure that you're not just tagging, lots of different people. It's got to be very strategic. You've got to be very specific in what you're doing. Now, there are people that you might see that you don't think they are strategic, and they might not be, but for the most part, people are very strategic in their marketing. So just go ahead. I was going to review. Go ahead.
Okay. So a couple questions.
Yes.
So, number 1 is the purpose of hashtags is to get seen in the feeds. Is that?
Yes. Because what happens is that, I know you said Facebook and Instagram, but I might do a little plug for Twitter. But
okay.
So there's these hashtags that trend every day. Like on Mondays, it's Monday motivation. Or there's another really big one called Mom Life, that if you look, I'm at Wendy Silvers on Instagram, and you can go to my wall, and you'll see what I post, and you'll see how I'm posting. And so there's Mom Life, there's Monday Motivation. There's certain words where a lot of people follow, like love or peace I will do, because I'm so passionate about moms and motherhood and consciousness. Like a lot of my hashtags will have mom life, mommy life, motherhood, parenthood, conscious. And if somebody is, let's say, just wanting to research a hashtag, at the top of Instagram, my phone's not near me, which is a shock, but if you look at that little magnifying glass and you put in a hashtag, all the people that use a similar hashtag will come up. So it is a great way to connect with people and find out who's doing what. And to have, so I won't jump ahead of myself, but yeah.
Okay, good. And then in terms of, you talked about be careful with who you're tagging, right? And are you talking about Instagram there?
Instagram and Facebook.
Okay. And so
you froze.
So because I understand Facebook much more than Instagram. And so I understand tagging on Facebook.
Okay.
You know, we use that sometimes to make sure somebody sees something, or if we want to include them and, you know, so other people see it. So what is the function of tagging people, like on Instagram, for instance? And you're saying be careful how you do it. So what's the strategy behind that?
So what I would do, if you're wanting to connect with somebody who's, let's say, an influencer, what you want to do is repost. You want to get on Instagram, they have apps called Repost, and then you want to make sure you tag. If you see somebody's post that you really, really, you know, gel with, you want to repost it with everything that they said, and let's say at the top say, oh my God, I'm so in alignment, or I dig this. This is so right on. Yeah, or yes, or yeah, you know, whatever your style is. And then you've made a connection with that person. And you're also, one of the greatest tools in life is help other people get what they want.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying do it to get. I'm saying be moved from inside. If there's someone doing something you really love, be generous. And you do that so well, Justine. I mean, you're just so beautifully demonstrate that. Yeah.
So Jen Moore says, I can't figure out how to repost. Seems like you have to have an extra app.
That's what yes, I'll restate it. You do. You need an app. And one of the ones that I use is called Repost or Regram. And you might try a few. I've had to try a few before I settled on one that really worked for me. You do. That's how you get the it's called the watermark, where it's somebody else's post. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So go get that app, Jen, and then you can, because Jen uses Instagram a lot. So that's one of her.
Okay. It's great. I love Instagram. I really, really love Instagram.
Yeah, she says thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the other thing I want to go back to that you said that I feel like is so important, I don't want to gloss over this, is, you know, you said two things. One, know who you are. And then two, you said, what do you want them to come away with? So I think that is so important, that when we're posting, you know, what is it? Do we want to inspire someone? Do we want to educate someone? Do we want them to comment and, you know, do we want them to buy something from us? Do we want them to join a webinar? You know, do we want to refer? Like, what is the purpose? And what do we want people to come away with, rather than just randomly, you know, posting for the sake of posting, right?
Yes, it's very important. And I think there was a question of, do you want to welcome newcomers? You can, if you want to establish a connection. I know that I think connection matters more than anything. So I'm one of those people that tells my clients to be really mindful of connection and really be aware of what you're cultivating. Because there are people that are cutthroat, marketers, and they'll use whatever strategy that will get them followers, get them noticed, and that's fine, right? No judgment. Just know who you are, know who you're dealing with. If you're somebody that really wants to cultivate a community, then connection matters more than anything. And you want to have people feel welcome. Sorry, I'm going to mute for a second. My dog has to be in the mix. Ah, dog training. If I could only get this dog to be quiet.
This is life, and this is part of what I love about like being in the mom world is like we all get it. It's messy. It's, you know, it's not, we all have the child that comes in and interrupts us, the dog, the cat, the whatever, you know, the snot coming down, like whatever, we all get it. So it's like,
yeah. So, so just really be mindful of what are you trying to create? Who are you? And what is it that you're offering? And how can you leave people feeling better than when they came to your page? It's really kind of that same spiritual axiom of when you work with somebody, what do they want to leave with? That's the vibration, because I believe from an esoteric point of view that everything is energy. And so what's the energy that I am transmitting when I am posting something? Is it just to be flashy? And if it is, own it. If on Sunday you're just feeling like I just want to let it all hang out, then let it all hang out. That's cool. Just know what you're doing. Be intentional. Be intentional. And then have fun. Because I think that Instagram is so much fun. I love it. And what I have on my Instagram account, for Jen probably knows this, but you can connect your Twitter feed and your Facebook page in the back of your Instagram account, so that when you post something, you can wait a little while and then go back in and it says share. And you can share it to your page and share it to your Twitter feed, which I highly recommend. I want to jump in. May I jump in and just put a plug in for Twitter? Yeah. Justine?
Yes.
You're frozen. Okay. So the beauty of Twitter is that you can, when you see somebody that you really like what they've said, you do what's called a tweet with quote. And what that means is you put a period, a dot, right before the person that whose thing that you like. So let's say I have two Twitter feeds. I have @Wendy Silvers and @MillionMamas. So when you put the period before your Twitter handle, or it will go to every single person that's in your feed. And then you can also, let's say Million Mamas Movement posted something that I really loved. So then I would go in and I would put period @Million Mamas, and then I would say ampersand, Wendy Silvers totally agrees with you. Thank you for this post. And then what was posted gets refed again. And you can do that. You can, in 1 hour, you can contact 20 different people or organizations with Twitter. And that is the beauty of Twitter, because the feed moves so fast. So if there's an organization or if there's a person, with that, you have a little more leeway in terms of contacting a celebrity or contacting an influencer and letting them know what's happening, or Parent Magazine or Mothering Magazine. You can just be like, @Mothering Magazine, just so excited about the compassionate day that I'm having with my kids, or a picture with, your kids. So you can be really using Twitter a lot.
Okay. So you're saying, just so I'm clear, the trick is you put the dot before the @ and then
Yes.
and then that blasts it out. How
To
is
your
that?
entire Twitter following.
Okay. To your entire following.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Should we pause for any questions right now, or do you want to continue?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Wendy on anything she said or anything that's come up from something she said? Jen War. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Technical difficulties. I have a quick question. When you mentioned about connecting your, and I have a Twitter account. I don't even touch it yet. Not even going there, but I love Instagram. My question is, what I'm using my Instagram account for is to kind of build a following that I had previously through Facebook. And I'm trying to sort of rebuild and rebrand that, but you can't connect on Instagram to, like, I basically try and filter everybody back into a group that I have, and you can't do that. So is it worth having whatever I post on Instagram, just connect it to my Facebook? I've actually stopped posting much on Facebook because I so much more enjoy Instagram, but I feel like then I'm losing that connection, and there are people who aren't on Instagram who are on Facebook.
Absolutely.
So do you suggest to do that?
I would. And I would also, since you're wanting to connect people back to a Facebook group, or is it a different group entirely?
It's not a page, it's a Facebook group I've created.
Okay. Well, I would put that page in your, so I'm looking for my phone. It's all the way across the room. So on your, in the inside of Instagram, you know where the bio is? There's a bio. You can put the link to your Facebook group page if that's where you're wanting to redirect people.
I did that through Linktree.
You can do that through Linktree as well. Yes. But you can also put it in your bio.
Okay.
And then go ahead.
Sorry, there's like a delay. Can you only you can only add links if you're on like a desktop versus a phone. Like you can't put a link in a post on Instagram back to your bio. That's why I've been using Linktree, but you can put a direct link in your bio when you edit your profile. Is that true?
Absolutely. That's absolutely true. It doesn't hyperlink yet, but Zuckerberg owns Instagram, so I'm certain at some point they'll figure the algorithm there.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sure.
Does anybody else have a question for Wendy? Hey, Claudia. All right, let's see, give a minute if there's no questions. So and if you do have a question, just raise your hand and we'll get back to you. We still have about 20 minutes remaining. And so what would you say, like, in terms of consistently showing up and, building your brand and being seen and being reliable, because as we know, people want to be able to count on us. Like, we're going to be there. We're going to keep showing up, right? And so what would you recommend as far as like how often we should be posting on any given platform? And I know they're different, so what would you say?
So on Instagram, I usually do two to sometimes 3 a day. You can do that. On Twitter, you can post as much as you want. There's no real saturation on Twitter unless you're tweeting the same people. Then there's like, don't do it more than once a day, or depending on who they are. On Facebook, I would also say no more than 2. And if you're going to tag people, make sure you privately contact them and say, is it okay if I tag you in this post? Because of the algorithm, essentially, I mean, Facebook is still great, and it's also great for the over 40 crowd or 45 plus crowd, because people still use it. But because they changed the algorithm about 6 weeks ago, not everybody is getting your feed. I mean, they've been doing this for longer than that, but they really made that dramatic shift in the algorithm. So what they're really wanting is people to buy Facebook ads. But it still is a great way to connect with people that don't use any other social media platforms. So I would say no more than 2 on Facebook in a day. 2 Instagram, 2 Facebook, and Twitter. Have at it.
Okay. And would you say that's the same for both people's personal page and their business page?
I would say one of each if you have more than one page, like I've got 6 pages. So sometimes I'm just like, trying to like juggle them. But if you have more, and because sometimes the audience can overlap. So if you're going to do 2 on your personal and 2 on your business, it's a lot. And I would also say that if you're in the middle of a launch, then you're going to approach it a little differently, and you're going to be mindful of the timing of when you post, because if, let's say, you're wanting to work with people in the UK, because they're 8 hours ahead, you want to make sure you get a post first thing in the morning. And then it also works with your East Coast people. And then again, it's 6 p.m. our time, PST. I don't know if anybody's here on a different time zone.
Yeah,
that's what.
It's such a good thing to consider because, people are in different time zones. So you have Eastern time is 3 hours later than Pacific time, and you've got Mountain time, and you've got across the world. If you have clients and people that are on the other side of the world, then
yeah.
And go ahead.
I was going to say it also helps with aloha time for people that are living in Hawaii. It also really helps with that.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people are up. I mean, I'm sure there's people up meditating, but not a lot of people are on social media in Hawaii at 6 a.m. But at 3 p.m. or 6 p.m., you have more of a chance that they'll catch that.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting to kind of experiment with our own audiences and see when we get the greatest response, when the most people are online. I've noticed like Saturday is generally not a good day to like send out emails or posts and stuff for my audience and our, but Sunday morning early is good. Like, people are on social media like first thing up in time. So just to experiment with what works for your audience. And so what are some other tips that you have in terms of, strengthening, building a following, and strengthening our brand individually?
On Instagram in particular, are you asking?
Not necessarily. I mean, I think it across all platforms. So whichever ones you really want to speak to is fine.
Okay.
I just got the internet unsteady, but how do we build an audience? Jen Moore says, how do we build an audience?
Consistency and topic, and also experimentation. Like some people really resonate with visuals, so make sure that you have like these really meaningful visuals. I don't know, may I ask what your brand is, Jen?
He has a war for wellness.
Wellness. Oh, that's a great one. That's a great niche. So what you might want to do is have all these beautiful visuals of wellness, like a Zen bowl with water drops and behind it. Or a woman, I don't know if it's wellness for women or moms or particular, if you've really niched it out even more than that. But, you know, having a mom sitting there, like looking really serene. And then you can, in that regard, you could, if there's somebody who you really like, you might put a little hashtag, like for instance, when The Rock had a baby, his wife had a baby, I reposted the picture of him holding his little daughter. And then I was able to get a regram skin to skin. Exactly. Yes, skin to skin. And so that was really, even though my niche, when I do parenting, it's for both parents, but usually it's the mothers that come and then bring the fathers in a, you know, that kind of arrangement. But I got a lot of responses from that. And then I reposted it with an Instagram app that allowed me to have what he said. So in that regard, when you do something like for wellness, when you do that continual beautiful visuals and you hashtag, right, you research the hashtags, you will have people coming to your page because they saw that hashtag. It's really kind of a mystery. And then if there's somebody that you know that's an influencer who you know is really into wellness, you can hashtag them. And you can, if you follow them on Instagram, then you might sometimes, not all the time, include them in your post, right? As the ampersand in their name. The other thing that I wanted to say about, oh yeah, so Instagram is an incredible demonstration of not taking likes or followers personally, because you will have people, like I know for me with my Instagram page, I've gone really high and then all of a sudden there'll be like this 10 people drop off. Then it'll go really high and then it'll be again. So it's just really important to be consistent, to be congruent, to be relatable, accessible, and and connect with people. So for instance, the other thing that's good is if there's a brand that you really like and they've just released a product, you can also hashtag them, or you can repost their post about a brand, because that will create people that follow them will then go to your page and look. And the other thing is, so I'll pause right there because I know I said a lot. Does anybody have a question? Okay, I gotta put my glasses on. Should we hashtag? Yes, definitely. Definitely hashtag your brand. Absolutely. And that could even be in the comment box below, but definitely hash it. So the other thing I wanted to talk about are the stories. They're really fun. You can, I'm just gonna grab my phone so I can give you kind of a visual. Hold on. Okay, and there was a question. I got to put my glasses on. Oh, I can't see it anymore. All right, so in Instagram, and I'm going to my Instagram page, what is really fun to do is to go into the plus at the bottom and then go into where it says video. And at the bottom, can you see at the bottom, there's all these choices at the bottom of the screen. Play with them because they're really fun. You can do different kinds of videos. You can do stories. You can do recordings. You can do pictures that go into, they go right up into, did someone say something? Okay, so up here on my, it might be a glare. Up here you'll see like there's a little plus sign. You can take a picture of yourself and then upload it to Story, and you can write on it if there's a message that you want to put in there. There's a little drop down, like, let's just say. Okay, so tell me if you can see this. So do you see over here? I did a video I did a series of videos, and on each of them, I wrote something different that related. Did you get a chance to see that? Yeah. Okay. So I wrote something on there that was relatable, and then people would respond to it. And it's really a fun way to have people see you, to feel you, because that's when I talk to you about connecting with people. It's a really great way for people to connect with your essence, because that's what will generate clients. When they know who you are, when they know they connect with your essence, they're like, I want to know more about her.
So tell us the difference between stories on Instagram and Facebook, and what is the difference? Why would we want to use a story? Why would we want to use a story on Facebook versus just posting on a regular timeline? Did you catch that?
No. Can you say that again?
Yeah.
In a way that you...
Okay, so tell us the difference between stories on Instagram and Facebook. And then on Facebook, why would we want to use a story versus just posting to our timeline?
So are you talking about doing a Facebook Live to your timeline, or a story from Instagram?
Well, they have these stories on Facebook now too, right? That say, you want to post this to your story, and apparently they're only viewable for 24 hours.
Well, it's like that on, there are some, that's like that on Instagram as well, but you can save your video and you can also post it to your timeline. You'll have that'll be that question when you do a story on Instagram. Do you want to save, and do you want to post to your timeline? I do it almost all the time. I post because it does dissolve. It's kind of a little Snapchatty, but I don't use Snapchat. Most kids use Snapchat. Some millennials use Snapchat as well, but I just prefer to use Instagram, Twitter, and then Facebook. So I don't have a real answer for you about Facebook stories.
Okay.
I just think they're trying to model Instagram and Snapchat.
So I know Amy here uses the Facebook stories a lot, right? So do you know, Amy, what the benefit is of doing the story?
I use the Facebook stories as more like little, like you were saying, little like snapshots of my day or of my life, like not maybe something I wouldn't like do a big post on Facebook for. If I already like posted on Facebook and then something happens in real life that I want to share, I'll like put it on my stories, so I'm not doing like another Facebook post. It's more like, I feel like it's more casual. Like the stories is more casual for me. I don't know if everyone does that. And then it's not like as thought out. It's like more just spur of the moment, like posting.
That sounds, I think it can be used that way too. Absolutely. That sounds, I've done Facebook Lives, a lot of Facebook Lives that are very spontaneous. And then I've done interview shows with Facebook Live. So I think it's unique and individual to what it is that's happening. And I think it just is that hit of let me just put something out there. It's a way to stay connected. It's a way to let people see into your life. And because it dissolves in 24 hours, you're not so attached to it. But I think that Instagram is a really great way to build your brand. And I think Facebook is a great way to stay in people's minds, because people still look at Facebook, but I think there's a migration for people that are very visual to Instagram. And I think Twitter's going to stick around because it's just got such a fast feed.
Yeah, I can't. Twitter is like, yeah, I can't even.
Oh, yeah. Twitter reminds me of like a stock market tape. It's like that fast. It's like you could post something and then you're like, wait. And that's the beauty of, let's say, if you're launching something, the beauty of Twitter is that you can post, if you look at some people who, let's say there's some influencers that you really like. If you look at their Twitter feed, you'll see that they might have done like 4 posts in an hour. and they're all different. And Instagram is a little more strategic. But what I was wanting to say also is that when you go to Instagram, you're going to see, now watch if it's going to show up. Let's see here. No, it's not showing up. There's a whole bunch of, okay, I'm not accessing it. But if you want to play with the bottom of your phone, there's a whole bunch of videos that are other people, like hundreds, some have thousands, some have double-digit followers. You can repost theirs as well. And that's also a way to build your brand and to attract followers, because again, just like the hashtags, people will follow it and then they'll want to see what you're doing. And it's great too for wellness, because you have people posting their bodies and all sorts of things. So it's a really great way to do that. And it's fun. What I also invite you to consider is having fun. Like it's a great way. And the other thing is put limiters on it, because it is very, very easy. I'm a different kind of limiter than, like, I'm launching a program that begins tomorrow and I have a limiter, right? Like, I'm going to give people $50 off the price of the whole series. But when I say limiter, make a decision. How much time do you want to spend on Instagram today? How much time do you want to spend on Facebook? Because it's so easy to get sucked in to the social media sphere, and you'll lose 2 hours that you could be writing a blog post, you could be doing something. Great too is to do what I call vlogs, video log posts, like a vlog post, where a little bit of it is video, and then you do content, and then you post that. So on Instagram, you have typically 60 seconds to do a live video. And so you can do a live video, and then you can write content under it. And then Jen, for you with your community, you can do like a live post about something that someone in your community had a breakthrough, or they had a healing, or just something that was really impactful. But you're sharing about it live, and then maybe underneath you talk about what the issue is and how people can resolve it. So you tie it back. Or Tangi, Family Love Village. Let's say you're going to do something about Family Love Village, and then you do like a video, and then you have some copy, and then with a link in your bio to Family Love Village. Or to your Facebook page. If you have, let's say there's something going on that you have a Facebook group, you have that. So it's a really, really great tool.
So we're just about at the top of the hour.
Okay.
Can you just really quick tell us what your social media schedule looks like? So like how much time per day do you spend? And do you like certain days do this one platform, or do you hit all of them each day? What does that look like for you?
So I hit Instagram every day, and between creating them, sometimes I will have had the foresight to create my memes for the week, and something happens in life that I feel very moved by, or that I need to post about. So then it's about 1 hour, because I'll create the meme in Canva, or I'll create the copy. So it's about 1 hour. And Facebook is probably every other day. Although what I will do, like I was sharing in the with you, like in here, you'll see so this was a post that I did the other day. And then up here where it says share, wait, no, I don't want to delete that. Okay, see where it says share at the bottom? Can you see all those choices? It says Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr. So I don't use Tumblr very often, but I usually post, I go and I post back to Facebook. So I try to have something on Facebook, but I'm not necessarily on Facebook. So it's approximately an hour a day, sometimes less. And then there's those times where it can be more, but I try to keep it limited because really it's like the, you know, that Bermuda Triangle of time. I'm really conscious of my time.
Yeah.
I'm very conscious of my time.
Good. As we all need to be, right?
Yes. Yes. It's a really important tool for prosperity.
So does anybody have any quick last minute questions that you must know before we go? Anybody have a question for Wendy?
Was this helpful? Was this helpful for everyone? I'm hoping that it was helpful for some people, that they're walking away with some new tools. And I could screen, let me just see this.
Yeah, she could spend more hours listening and learning. Yeah. And yes, thank you, Wendy. Tanji says, and it was helpful for me as well, Wendy. So it has been helpful. Can you just quickly, before you go, tell the ladies about your program that you're launching tomorrow and how they can connect with you if they're not already connected?
Oh, thank you. Yes. So I created a program called The Awakened Mother. It's a 7-week immersion. And each week we're going to dive into mindfulness. We're going to dive into self-care. We're going to dive into health. We're going to dive into marketing and mission. And it's a really deep dive. And it starts tomorrow. And it's 1 hour live with me a week. But we have a private Facebook group. And I'm available via email to support you. And it's really about awakening your essence and awakening your connection to yourself and your inner wisdom and power, so that you can have time freedom, money freedom, personal freedom, and you can have prosperity, to be home with your kids more, or to launch a brand. And so that starts tomorrow. And I do have, for people that want to sign up, anybody here, it's $297, but I'm happy to offer it to you for $50 off that. So if you're interested, you can just email me, Wendy at WendySilvers, and that's with an S, SILVERS.com. And then I'm on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, and it's Wendy Silvers, and also at Million Mamas. And I'm speaking this weekend at the March for Moms, and that's down at Pershing Square. And then also there's a Momathon that Justine and I are both on the 6th. And so I'm available to support you in any way. What's that? I got it. Oh, Tanji, yay! You're speaking on it, or you're on Momathon?
Momathon.
Yes? Oh, cool. Oh, that's great. So
what I want to say also for the ladies is that if you're like Wendy's approach, you know, she's very spiritual and she brings a very spiritual approach to what she does. And it's a very nurturing approach. And so if you're really looking for reconnecting to yourself in a nurturing and spiritual way, I recommend doing Wendy's program that starts tomorrow. And I, thank you for offering the ladies that discount. I think that's an amazing price for the program and the time that they'll be getting to spend with you. So, if anybody's feeling called or compelled to that, if it's speaking to you and resonating, like I say, go for it. I think it'll be time well spent with Wendy.
Thank you. It will be. It's going to be amazing. Yeah. And even though I'm soft, I got a lot of fire.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yes, she does. I can see that recently. Oh my gosh.
I just don't, I like to tell my mamas that you don't have to be the loudest one in the space to be heard. And it's a really important remembering, because in this world of marketing and all that public stuff, sometimes people get the misperception that they have to be the one, screaming in the center, and you don't.
Yes. So Wendy gets what she wants. I saw her in action at the retreat that we were at last month or whatever. I mean, she's good. So anyway, thank you so much, Wendy, for spending this time with us, for imparting your wisdom and your heart on us. And we all got so much from it. As you can see with the responses, everybody says yes, yes, yes. Thank you so much. And everybody else.
My supreme joy.
Yay. And everybody else, have a wonderful day. And you can all, let's just unmute. We can all unmute ourselves and say bye.
Bye.
Bye, Wendy. Yay. So good to see you, hon.
Bye. Great to see you.
Thank
Great
you.
call.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Love you, Justine. Love to everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.